Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. And have I told you lately how blessed I am to have all of you guys as part of my life? You know, I take this assignment very seriously as we carefully unpack the deeper spiritual meanings of our reality. Now, before we get into today's show, we're going to try something new with the whole moderator situation from now on. I don't think we need a moderator anymore. Now, what I've done is I've pulled almost all the wrenches, and I'm going to let you guys self-moderate. Now, the way that works is that when you start seeing somebody in the chat who is attacking people or attacking yourself, or you just choose not to listen to them anymore, you can simply block them from your chat experience. There's these three dots next to each of the names here that pop up in the chat. You click on those three dots, and you can block that person from your experience. So we really don't need a moderator, do we? Now, I suggest that you use this sparingly because sometimes through the medium of this kind of communication, there are misunderstandings. So just be careful. You don't want to just go and block half the people in the chat. That's not going to solve anything either. But here's what I do know. We just had 3 bad moderator experiences in a row, didn't we? In 2 months. I'm not going to name names, but this is definitely a spiritual attack, isn't it? So we need to get refocused. And this is the idea that was revealed to me by the Holy Spirit to move forward. Sometimes you see a person with a wrench and it's got a negative vibe to it, doesn't it? No matter how great the person is, it just can have a negative vibe because that person has power over you. And sometimes people get offended that that person can block them from the chat. So you can individually block the people that you want, and I think that's the solution. Now, here's the other thing that this method does. When you self-moderate, you can also report the comment. And so the people that are going around disrupting chats, they're doing it on other channels too. It's not just our channel. They're doing it to get attention. They're doing it to get people's goat. They're doing it to try to, provoke anger so that Christians act out of turn and act out of our nature. And this is all spiritual demonic activity. Okay. So imagine that as these reports begin to accumulate against a particular account, they will lose their account. So I think this is the best way to move forward. Nobody should have to sit and read offensive comments, especially if they're directed towards you. Now, I recommend that when you start seeing somebody causing trouble in the chat, even if it's not directed right at you, that you also block those people too. But of course, use your discretion. Because like I said, sometimes we misunderstand the circumstances, don't we? So let's get into today's show. Enough about that. We'll put that behind us. Today, we are going to talk about Wormwood. Now, what a rabbit hole this was. Wormwood. Now, it's mentioned one time in the Bible, as you can see here in the Wikipedia article about Wormwood. And it's in this obscure passage that seems to suggest a star or an angel that falls to earth, turning a third of the waters bitter. Now, I want you to keep an open mind today, just like we did with other subjects like copper, for instance, because just because they name something one thing to fit into something else doesn't mean that their names are in line with God. Okay, so you got to be careful here and understand that there is a good version of things and a bad version of things. So we're not making any claims about Wormwood today, other than identifying the spiritual manifestations of the word, okay? Are you ready? Did you know that wormwood is believed to be from a plant called Artemis? Now, what is Artemis? Well, Artemisia is a bitter taste that causes or kills intestinal worms. In fact, wormwood is used as a natural remedy for many different parasitic conditions. In this study, it was combined with another drug that shall not be named to treat vidco. Now, I'm not saying that this does treat vidco. I'm saying that this was done in this study. Now, why is wormwood so important right now on the world stage? Well, we know that Russia took control of northern Ukraine, particularly a nuclear power plant called Wormwood. Wormwood was named that decades before it turned a third of Europe's waters bitter. The power plant I'm speaking of course, is Chernobyl, which means wormwood when translated. Now, of course, the Russians returned control back to the East Ukrainians, but now you see why this is so important to talk about. There have been rumors of another meltdown, and the rumors went wild during the Russian occupation as power to the cooling reactor was sabotaged. Now, of course, we know that radiation causes baldness, don't we? And wormwood has also been studied on its own as a treatment for vidco, as you see here in this study, using just wormwood alone to treat vidco. Another study, I'm not making a claim, just showing a published study. Now let's keep going with this, because guess what else wormwood is used for? Are you ready for this? Baldness. Wow. A cure for baldness. So in this patent, and also going all the way back to the 1300s, they talk about using wormwood as a cure for baldness. So now you're starting to see all this congeal together. You've got radiation, you've got wormwood, you've got Chernobyl, you've got baldness, you've got the treatment for the baldness, which is wormwood, bringing it around full circle, completing the circle. Now, again, I don't know if this actually does treat baldness. I'm showing you the spiritual circle created by these people. Now, look at this. Look at the date. January 88th. There is no January 88th. Something going on there, isn't there? Now, let's keep going. Because here's from an excerpt from the 1300s talking about wormwood bitters being used to treat baldness applied to the scalp. Now, this is all really weird because everything right now in our reality is all about baldness, isn't it? Yes, it is. Alopecia. There's something strange being cast upon all of us in the spiritual realm right now. Now, did you know that there is an epidemic of alopecia happening right now as we speak? In fact, the global alopecia market is set to double in the next 5 years, according to this article. Unbelievable. So, they anticipate this being a problem. Now, here they say, oh, it's because of cancers and it's because of all these other things. But they anticipate it to double in the next 5 years. Now, some people are blaming it on the smack scene. Other people are blaming this baldness epidemic on vidco itself. But I can tell you that even being in the chat in the comment section, many of you, hundreds of you, have come forward and told me about baldness affecting your personal lives in one way or another. Now, I continued down the rabbit hole yesterday as I was researching this. And then I came to the realization that rabies causes animals to go bald. And in fact, the rabies smack scene causes sight baldness. As you can see in this study, Now, many of you will remember that the very same thing happened to Will Smith's dog in I Am Legend. Samantha was the name of his dog. She was bit by a zombie and got the rabies virus, didn't she? And remember, he grabbed Samantha, and out came a clump of her hair as she was turning into a zombie dog, and he had to choke her out. Now, we all know that a zombie virus is linked to a form of rabies. This is in zombie lore, that rabies is a form of a zombie virus. And that, all of that brings us to a particular birthday. September 25th. And a particular affliction that affects a disproportionate amount of people with this certain birthday, September 25th. This is shared by Will Smith, whose wife has alopecia. It's shared by Christopher Reeve, who had alopecia. They called it the Reeve effect. Wow. And look at this. Scottie Pippen, Chauncey Billups, both sporting the bald heads. I don't know if they have alopecia, but this is really weird. You also have Donald Glover, which is listed as number 2 in terms of popularity on this list of people with the birthday September 25th. And guess what? Donald Glover just appeared on Jimmy Kimmel just a week ago, sporting the bald head. Let's see what he has to say about this, because Jimmy Kimmel addresses this fact in plain sight. Let's play a little bit of this here. Make it a little bit bigger for you guys.
They jump right to their feet. It's good to see you. Now, don't slap me, but you're bald.
I am bald.
Okay.
So, obviously, the slap, the baldness, it's all connected. And he has the same birthday as Will Smith. What is going on here, you guys? What is going on?
I decided to just, I'm not earning anymore. I just took it all off.
Did you do it yourself?
I did.
Was it risky? Because
It's
So we're going to listen to this, but we got to pause it, of course, intermittently, so we don't get a copyright.
super risky.
Yeah.
I don't like my occipital lobe.
Oh,
I don't like it that much.
let me have a look at it.
Yeah.
So, he doesn't like his occipital lobe. What just
Yeah.
happened
Looks
there?
pretty good. It's nice. It's risky because it's like kind of like buying a carton of eggs. You want to lift it up and make sure everything's nice
okay.
and round.
But
So, a carton of eggs, I don't know what that reference might be to. Interesting, right? But notice what he's wearing here. The colors of pureness, purity. In the Bible, when they mention, baldness, it's often associated with sackcloth and ashes, which is like a humiliation ritual or lowering yourself. It almost looks like he's wearing sackcloth, doesn't it?
it takes years for the carton to come back. Kind of thing. Like that's the difference. So, yeah.
Do you? So now you have. It must be easier to be bald.
So the whole show, the whole segment is about baldness. Let me check in with you guys, and we'll keep going with this, because this show is very, very important. This will be one of our more important shows regarding all of this, because things are going off the rails right now with all of this. Let's keep going here. Let me make sure. Can you guys hear me? I had sound problems last time. Okay, good. Everybody looks good. Okay, very good. Let's keep going here.
Does your family like it? Is it popular in the house?
My middle child says Daddy looks weird.
Daddy looks weird.
Daddy looks weird. So this is all conditioning, because I think this is going to be the future of our reality, where a lot of people are bald. Remember the Matrix films where you were in this pod and didn't even realize it, and they were bald like babies, weren't they?
Yeah.
Which I do. To him, I mean, he hasn't known, he only has 4 years life experience. So
Yeah,
like,
right,
to
sure.
him, he's like, Daddy's been this way for a long time.
Now, we discovered that this September 25th date falls on the Babylonian New Year this year. And so this will definitely be a date to watch. Let's keep watching here.
You know, but yeah, but everybody seems to be okay with it.
Everybody's okay with it. Yeah, it looks pretty good, I think.
Right. It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Where did you watch the Oscars?
I was at the
So this is mockery, right? Obviously, this is mockery. You know, they're mocking Will Smith. They're also mocking his wife by shaving his head bald. It's all humiliation ritual here.
Vanity Fair Oscar party.
Okay. Oh, you went to that party. And were
Yeah.
people paying attention when the whole thing happened, or were they talking as they usually are?
Yeah, everybody was kind of just
So he was at a Vanity Fair Oscar party. Let's keep watching here.
kind of chatting. I think it felt like you were in someone's living room, you know, like it just kind of happened. But you know, I don't, you know, to me, you know, I don't even really want to get into it because I'm like, you know.
So it appears as though this whole segment is about his bald head. I would keep playing this, but we'd be on here all day talking about this. So I'll link this. I mean, there could be more stuff in here, but I don't want to risk getting a copyright. You're only allowed to play up to like 9 seconds of any clip with any commentary to avoid the copyright algorithms. So, strange times, right? Now, if you thought this was it and there's no more to this, there's actually more. Okay? Because there's another troubling aspect about all this. Remember, Wormwood is also called Artemis or Artemisia, right? And who is Artemis? Well, Artemis is the twin sister of Apollo. And it wasn't too long ago that Thump spent billions of dollars on the Space Force and plans to return to the moon under the program called Artemis. Remember the NASA program? Which makes me start to wonder what the Artemis logo is really all about. Is this a spacecraft flying away from Earth, or is this an object coming to Earth? And was Thump the harbinger of the coming Wormwood spoken about in Revelation? Well, I don't know the answer to that, but I guess we're going to have to wait and find out, aren't we? Now, let's break down Artemis a little bit more, because I pulled her up in this Wikipedia article, and it is a very long Wikipedia article. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but I'm going to give you the highlights of what I found. Strap on your seatbelt, because this is chilling. The goddess Artemis, like her twin brother Apollo, was able to bring disease and also cure it. Now, her role was disease for young women. Apollo was more overreaching and overarching, and he could bring disease to the entire world and also cure it. So here you have the problem and the solution under one God. Now, how did she bring disease? Well, history says that she brought it with the piercing of an arrow. This is starting to sound a lot like the smack scene, isn't it? Now, she also wielded a bow and arrow, just like Apollo did. And we had established that Apollo is likely Apollyon, or the white horse in Revelation, carrying a bow and an arrow and a crown, which is a corona. Now, her chariot was driven by deer instead of horses, because Apollo had the horses and she had the deer. And Artemis was representative of the moon, and her twin brother Apollo was the sun. Now, ancient myth says that Artemis banished Orion to the stars as a constellation, and he was trapped up there. Why did she do that? Because he was boasting about his hunting skills. Now think about the blasphemy of that. Because as all of us know, the Most High rebuked Job. Remember when he was explaining to him that he was the only one who could loose the bands of Orion. So here we have Artemis imprisoning Orion up into the stars, into the constellation. Now, here we go again. Are you ready for this one? A statue of Artemis was found by the brothers. Let me find their name in here. Astrabacus and Alopecia under a bush of willows. Alopecia. A brother named Alopecia. Now, I'm going to go into the chat because I want to see your reaction to this bombshell information that basically supports all of the work we've been doing on the spiritual significance of Apollo, Artemis, and everything else we've been talking about. Because in a moment, I'm going to link all of this back to Thump. Now, a lot of people have criticized us for not letting go of Thump. Hey, he's not the president anymore. Why are you so obsessed with him? Because he was the gateway. He was the one that opened up the entire world to all of this stuff. As the leader of the world, America. Had we not gone along and followed along, had we had more of a stance like Africa did, we would be living in a completely different reality, wouldn't we, right now? But instead, we allowed our leaders and made excuses for them so that they did not, so that we became the ones that got the shaft, didn't we? Now let's keep going with this. According to Pausanias, a statue of Artemis was found by the brothers Astrabacus and Alopecia under a bush of willow, by which it was surrounded in such a manner that it stood upright. Now, very little is known about these brothers in antiquity, and nothing that I read suggests that they were bald. But you have to wonder, is this the root meaning of the word alopecia? Because if the treatment for alopecia is Artemis, Wormwood, doesn't it make sense that alopecia could be named after Alopecia? It certainly sounds like it should be to me. Now, Artemis cruised around with 6 or 7 hunting dogs. Where did she get those hunting dogs? From Pan. Pan gave her 7 hunting dogs. Now, here's the weird thing. There's a bald eagle named Artemis who passed away on the eve of Blind 11 in Kentucky a few years ago. Bald eagle. That's kind of weird, right? But there's more to this. Because Artemis Corona is a place supposedly on the surface of Venus. Now understand that Thump signed the Artemis Program in 2017, long before Artemis Corona or the coronavirus. Here's the Artemis Program, and as you can see, it was signed in 2017. Now, what else is going on here? Well, this is Thump On the eve, actually, when was this picture taken? The eve of the 119th day of the year in 2018. And in this picture, he's holding an umbrella 2 years before Corona. Look at the tip of the needle of the umbrella. Spiritual manifestation of blood. I didn't put that there. You can Google search this photo and see this bizarre visual anomaly that shows up at the tip of the umbrella. Now, this part of the umbrella is called the ferrous ferrule or ferula, and it's got spiritual blood on it. In fact, Thump has a very long history of umbrella gaffs before VidCo19 ever was heard of. Let's read about the umbrella gaffs of Thump. See if we can gather any additional information off of this spiritually. Then there's the notorious history with umbrellas. Last month, he seemed to leave his wife in the rain, carrying an oversized umbrella over his head as he went over to chat with reporters. I think I have some pictures of that. Here it is, I think, right here. So now you see this was all just a big joke. They all knew what was going to happen. Remember, the tip of this umbrella is called the ferrule, and it is used in hypodermic needles. Now, let's keep reading about these umbrella gaffes. Just a couple weeks later, a clip of him ditching umbrellas he boarded Air Force One went viral. His recent cancellation of France suddenly makes it all more sense. Who would want to restage a battle with such a worthy foe? Again, this gaffe that happened on Air Force One with the blood on the tip happened on the eve of the 119th day of the year in 2018. Now, I'll put links to all this if you want to double check my work. This is the research that I came up with. And now we have some clues as to what Nair hair remover and why that was named that. Because when you spell Nair backwards, it almost spells rain, doesn't it? Rain that you would need an umbrella for. So there's something about umbrella and baldness that these people know about. Or jabs. Crazy times, you guys. Crazy times. Now, Monday I have a special show planned for you, because I think we're able to dig a level deeper into the umbrella cult. Look at this. I was looking and thinking about nature and where I had seen umbrellas before. And then it hit me. The shape of an octopus in the defensive position to make himself look very big is the shape of an umbrella, isn't it? This is this. Wow, I think they have 8 arms too. So that's just slam dunk confirmed. Octopus Hydra. The smack the nation. Now, remember, we identified the umbrella as a spiritual representation of a hypodermic needle that pierces through the immune defenses. And now we have another layer with the blue-blooded octopus, hemocyanin-based organism. So we'll do a full show on that Monday. As you can see, I have several tabs already pulled up for that. And I may pop in over the weekend to do a headline show if anything else materializes. Or I may also be doing a decode on a 2010 episode of Fringe, in which there's another person jabbed with the tip of an umbrella. And that person then becomes the undead, just like the zombies of I Am Legend. So, there's something to all this, isn't there? Yes, there is. All right, let's go into the chat here, see what you guys are up to. So you guys have any other additional insights on this? Rihanna's song Under My Umbrella. Yeah, you know, I was going to dig into that. That one seems obvious, but maybe there's stuff in the lyrics that needs to be looked at. Luminescence. Yes, there you go, Carlene. Carlene's got her thinking cap on. The luminescence, which some people claimed that was in certain ingredients, right? Thanks, Colleen. Colleen says go fishing. Yeah, it's raining today, so today's going to be a rain day. Or it's not, no, it's not raining, but it's wet out. Maybe today is a good day to go fishing. I got to take my son grocery shopping. So we got that on the books today. Thanks, Know Your Realm, for becoming a channel member. I appreciate it. Some people say the Swiss pharaohs. Yes. Gire, channel named Gire, digs into that. The Swiss Templar cross, I think he calls it. So how is this thing with self-moderating working out for you guys? Is this a better way to go with this? I want to get your honest opinion about this. Raining snow in the Midwest today. Yeah, rain, right? The subject. Oh, several of you mentioned the penguin and his umbrella that he uses as a weapon. And of course, that fits right in to this whole thing, doesn't it? Because the penguin was in sub-zero temperatures, which is where the smack scene has to be stored. So they knew all along what was going on, didn't they? They knew all along. T-Cur has some emojis here, but for some reason the algos won't let those go through. So I'll prove those. Now, I usually watch these shows back once and try to look in the chat. So if there is someone causing problems, I can go in and block them later. But you have the ability to handle that immediately. So I would hope that when people come to this channel, they don't get upset because of what they see in the chat, because you are empowered to handle that. Okay, don't blame this channel for what you see in the chat. Okay, please, because you know that's what the enemy wants. He wants you to say, you know, I don't like Enter the Stars channel because his chat, I don't like his chat, and people attack me or whatever. Well, you can do something about that now, because I've given you the tools to do that. All right. Crystal says it's a great idea. That's awesome. Okay, so the Wormser says don't decode this. They're all rabbit holes. That's part of the decaption. Maybe you meant deception. If you are handicapped, you are saved. It has nothing to do with brains. No, you do not need to know all this stuff to be saved. Absolutely. I've never ever claimed that. I know some channels do, but we've never ever claimed that you have to watch decodes to be saved. But here's what I will tell you. The mainstream big box church is deceived. They went along with the program laid out for them with the leader that was assigned for them. And many got in the lines and went and did what many of us knew we shouldn't do. How did we know that? Because of decodes, didn't we? So be careful what you say, because that has spiritual ramifications. If you want people to bury their head in the sand and just show up to a church and get in the line to be deceived, you carry part of that responsibility for those people when you go around telling people, don't watch decodes, don't do this, don't do that. In other words, you're speaking out against God trying to get the word out to people, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying all churches are bad, but I'm telling you, most of them are into decodes like this and seeing the spiritual manifestations of the enemy and what his plans are. So, soft rebuke there. And I appreciate that you were polite with your comment. See, people can have differing opinions on this channel. It's another misconception. Oh, Casey, he deletes anyone who doesn't agree with him. No. If you attack people or attack myself, you will be deleted. Simply state your, whatever it is you don't agree with, and we can have a discussion about it like normal people. Which is what you would expect if you invited someone over to dinner to your house. They start insulting you and launching, lies about you. You're going to tell them to leave your house, aren't you? So, I appreciate that you were kind about that, but I disagree. All right. What else do we have here? Oh, Mary Poppins. Yes, didn't she have an umbrella as well? Lots of umbrellas. So this basically is a primer that unlocks the key to all kinds of other truth, doesn't it? Absolutely. Now, I do agree that you can get too deep into the minutia. I do agree with that. And you have to be careful. And this is where the Holy Spirit guides you. As you guys have seen, we haven't really wasted too much time. We've been pretty efficient on this channel, haven't we? We've been pretty efficient because we listen to the Holy Spirit. And once we go down one rabbit hole too far, the Holy Spirit stops us and it says, hey, it's time to back up a little bit or get focused on something else. Okay? So yeah, I see people that take it too far. They see numbers and everything, every single thing. And that can be overwhelming, number one. Number two, a lot of that is probably overkill, right? So, with a spoonful of sugar. Yes, that was a line from Singing in the Rain. Thanks, Marcy. And when she was talking about the umbrella, using the umbrella. Yes, Batman's villain, the Penguin. So, remember, everything's backwards world, right? We had identified Thump as the Batman. He even admitted it to a child on an airplane, didn't he? And the weird thing about that is the Penguin is supposed to be his nemesis, but now we're starting to see that spiritually the Penguin is his fake nemesis because he used the Penguin's umbrella, sub-zero temperature, smack the nation, to create at warp speed something that would change the world, didn't he? He was the leader of it all, hiding in plain sight. So, now, I was going to handle this a different day, but let's take a look at this right now. Because this kind of actually fits in to everything we're talking about. This, of course, is Angelina Jolie. And just days ago, she went to some kind of children's hospital where they claimed there were children from the new crane. And here you see the child is wearing a pizza smock. Now, the new crane has been known for problems with traffic, hasn't it? There she is all in black, and the claim is being made that these were injured children from the conflict, but the conflict only started 40 days ago, so that's a very well-healed scar for even if this child came in at the very beginning of the conflict, which we know is probably not the case. Child is bald, fitting into all of everything we've been talking about. Now, let's flip through some of these pictures. Now, if you're unaware of what the significance of Angelina Jolie has to do with all this, you got to go back and watch the Angelina Jolie videos. There's probably 6 or 7 of them. She visits this child, refugees, at the Vatican's Children's Hospital, fleeing puke stains, bombs. Place is called Bambino, which sounds like childish Gambino, doesn't it? The guy who's allowed to make millions of dollars on his YouTube video that depicted things that violated YouTube's terms of service. While the rest of us have to use code words to talk about anything. Now, these children obviously are victims. That almost looks like a panda outfit. Oh, this is just so dark to me. it's almost like we're looking at the character that she portrayed in Snow White. Unbelievable. So, pray for the children, of course, and pray for guidance by the Holy Spirit. Pray for God to help deliver us from this evil, because this is just really crazy. Okay, let's go into here. That's what I was going to say, Just a Girl. But you got to be careful what you say now. They can say and do anything they want on their music videos under the guise of art. But we've been discriminated against on the platform. So we have to be extra careful. And that's why we're still here. Because we have been extra careful. All right. Yeah, like if you're gonna go see children, like wouldn't you wear like yellow or something bright like pink? It's like the Grim Reaper showed up or something. Wow. Man. Bambino means baby in Italian. Thanks, Lisa. So childish Gambino sounds like child or something. You can feel the spiritual darkness coming out of the screen when I click on those images. That's the way I feel anyway. Based on everything we've found. Now, just because people seem to be doing, good things, it's understand that many times this is a front. I'm not saying that everybody that does good things is lying about it, but many times it's a front. Okay, so you can't. Okay, let me give you a prime example. Some of the not greatest, but some of the most evil people in history that have been arrested and put to jail were huge donors to many things. Probably the best recent example is Eggstein. And he was donating millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars to these causes. So that does not tell you that these people are good just because they donate and, go to these places and spend their time. There's probably some underlying agenda behind it in many cases. I'm not going to say all cases, but in many cases. So, all right. Steve says she's cursing them. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. Now we have Remember the Baby in I, Pet Goat 2. Let's pull that up. Now, understand that today's show... baby, let's put this in. Today's show was a conglomeration of lots of effort and lots of people. Okay, wasn't just us, wasn't just me, it was a lot of you guys. Now the bald matrix is revealed. We have the bald money man in iPet Go 2. If you're new to the channel and unfamiliar with iPet Go 2, understand that this is an animation from 2012 that seemed to foreshadow all of the world events over the last 10 years. And now the baldness is coming forward, isn't it? I'm shocked we didn't see this before. But who would have known? Look at the bald figures behind this girl here. Look at the bald figure here. And of course the bald baby in the egg. Which is how smack scenes are cultured. In the eggs. So, it appears as though we have another iPet Go 2 slam dunk, don't we? Strange times, you guys. Strange times. So, what does this mean for you spiritually? What does this mean for all of us spiritually? It means that we're on the right track. It means we are on the narrow path, because those of us that come to this channel did not give in to the lies, did we? No, we did not. Now, those on other paths did. The letter that shall not be named crowd, many of them went along because they're like, oh, if you choose the one that Thump made, that's the safe one. So choose that one. They gave into the right-left paradigm, didn't they? Yes, they did. So we seem to be on a very narrow path, and we're going to see how all this bald and alopecia thing manifests out over the next several months and years. Because, mark my words, this isn't over yet. We're at the beginning of something, aren't we? We're at the beginning of something. Now, this is a kind of an ironic statement here. F everything and love. That's like pretty much like saying jumbo shrimp. All right, so whatever. He still seems to have a problem that we're trying to help people. So we're not going to focus on the negative. We'll just focus on the positive, because we are very blessed with this channel. With, you guys are amazing. A lot of love on this channel. Most of our videos sit at 98, 99% approval rating in the ratings of the videos. So we'll try to focus on that. Okay. What else do we have here in the chat? Ring in the ear of the bald guy and the pet goat to indicate slavery. Yes, Jesus saves. I would agree with that. Okay. All right. So, if you guys have input, definitely put it in the comment. If you don't feel like you were heard or I missed your chat comment here, definitely put it in the comment section, because I do go through the comment section. And so then your comments are often used in the next show, because I use your comments to research further. This is a group effort, this channel. It's all of us working together. And I don't just say that because it sounds good. I say it because it's the truth. And you guys all know it. How many times have I used something that you put in the comment section? Let's everyone chime in. How many times have you seen something that you said in the chat or the comment show up in the next show? Let's hear it from everybody. Just for the naysayers out there, because there's people I don't know why people hate us so much. What have we done wrong to anybody? Okay. What does the baldness mean, says Erica. Well, we went over that in a couple shows ago, but basically it has something to do with either the radiation or some kind of mark received that will cause baldness. It also could have to do with rabies and that whole aspect to it, as we explained earlier in the show, which also connects to zombification, where you lose your hair, in the whole nervous system, which links into something else going on right now that's at the top of everybody's list of concerns, right? We can't say what it is, but yes, it is connected to that as well. We'll call it VidCo. What are your thoughts on donating plasma? I would never donate plasma or receive it from anyone, because that could be a gateway or tool that they use to spread whatever they want to spread. In fact, we saw this happen with HIV, didn't we? I believe that a lot of that was probably intentional. Seeded in for their experiments. So, please stop cursing in my chat. Not very nice. Yes, rabies is awful close to babies, isn't it? Okay. All right, you guys. Like I said, if I miss your comment and it's important, put it in the chat. I'm not the chat, but the comment section. I'll link all of this stuff. All of it will be in a link that's pinned in the show for your reference, so you can do additional research if you want. I'll do a pre-recorded premiere over the weekend on this Fringe episode called Marionette. And again, that was something you guys sent me. And it was all about a guy who jabs people with the tip of an umbrella and turns them into zombies. The same theme keeps repeating over and over again, you guys. So, I love each and every one of you, and I'm going to block this guy because I asked him politely to stop cursing. See, I give people chances. Uh-oh. Did I do the wrong person? No, I didn't. Okay. So I gave him like 10 chances. He kept cursing. So, sorry. You have to respawn under a different name if you want to come back. I love you guys. Have a great day. Take care and be safe.